Wise words of wisdom, inspirational quotes, IQ. What you become directly influences what you get. Jim Rohn. People naturally tend toward inertia. That's why self-improvement is such a struggle. But that's also why adversity lies at the heart of every success. The process of achievement comes through repeated failures and the constant struggle to climb to a higher level. John C. Maxwell. If you wish to achieve worthwhile things in your personal and career life, you must become a worthwhile person in your own self-development. Brian Tracy. Improve your business, your life, your relationships, your finances, and your health. When you do, the whole world improves. Mark Victor Hansen. Changing how you think costs you no money, and it takes no special talent. It does take a commitment on your part to be different. Michael Arndt. Every positive change in your life begins with a clear, unequivocal decision that you are going to either do something or stop doing something. Brian Tracy. Self-improvement is the name of the game, and your primary objective is to strengthen yourself, not to destroy an opponent. Maxwell Maltz. He who stops being better stops being good. Oliver Cromwell. Days are expensive. When you spend a day, you have one less day to spend. So make sure you spend each one wisely. Jim Rohn. Be a student. Stay open and willing to learn from everyone and anyone. Being a student means you have room for new input. When you are green, you grow. When you are ripe, you rot. By staying green, you will avoid the curse of being an expert. When you know in your heart that every single person you encounter in your lifetime has something to teach you, you are able to utilize their offerings in a profound way. Dr. Wayne Dyer. Absorb what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own. Bruce Lee. The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. Eckhart Tolle. What we fear doing most is usually what we most need to do. Tim Ferriss. The fluidity of thought is based on the flexibility of beliefs and the emotional boundaries surrounding them. Michael Arndt. We must all suffer one of two things: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret or disappointment. Jim Rohn. Invest 3% of your income in yourself, self-development, in order to guarantee your future. Brian Tracy. He enjoys true leisure who has time to improve his soul's estate. Henry David Thoreau. What are the aims which are at the same time duties? They are perfecting of ourselves, the happiness of others. Immanuel Kant. No matter what we've done or where we've been, every single one of us can change. Russell Simmons. Who you think you are is only a thought. Michael Arndt. Adversity challenges the masks we hide behind, revealing sides of ourselves we have not yet comfortably shared with the world outside. It is why we dislike adversity, because we have to face what we don't yet understand about ourselves. Michael Arndt. You build a successful life one a day at a time. Lou Holtz. Conquering others requires force. Conquering oneself requires strength. Lao Tzu. Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Steve Jobs. It is not always possible to be the best, but it is always possible to improve your own performance. Jackie Stewart. Obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goal. Henry Ford. A man, as a general rule, owes very little to what he is born with. A man is what he makes of himself. Alexander Graham Bell. Moral excellence comes about as a result of habit. We become just by doing just acts, temperate by doing temperate acts, brave by doing brave acts. Aristotle. Character is formed not by laws, commands, and decrees, but by quiet influence, unconscious suggestion, and personal guidance. Marion Leroy Burton.
You are watching Wise Words of Wisdom, Inspirational Quotes, IQ, the Inspirational Quotes channel everyone goes to for their daily motivation and to learn from the most successful men and women in history. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing so you never miss a new episode. Today's sponsor is Bob Proctor and the Proctor Gallagher Institute. Discover the secret to having good luck from America's greatest prosperity teacher, Bob Proctor. 6 Minutes to Success is based on Bob's more than 50 years of research into what makes or keeps people from being successful. Get instant access to the free video right now. The link is in the description. Now let's get back to more great quotes.
Self-development is a higher duty than self-sacrifice. Elizabeth Cady Stanton. It makes little difference how many university courses or degrees a person may own. If he cannot use words to move an idea from one point to another, his education is incomplete. Norman Cousins. If you only know something one way, then you don't really know it. Michael Arndt. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Jim Rohn. The safest principle through life, instead of reforming others, is to set about perfecting yourself. Benjamin Hayden. Before a person can achieve the kind of life he wants, he must think, act, walk, talk, and conduct himself in all of his affairs as would the person he wishes to become. Zig Ziglar. They must often change. Who would be constant in happiness or wisdom? Confucius. We see the world as we are, not as it is. Anais Nin. Put your heart, mind, and soul into even your smallest acts. This is the secret of success. Sivananda. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Jim Rohn. In oneself lies the whole world, and if you know how to look and learn, the door is there and the key is in your hand. Nobody on earth can give you either the key or the door to open, except yourself. Jiddu Krishnamurti. When life does not go our way or we inadvertently make a mistake, it is so easy to make excuses, place blame on others, or argue that circumstances were against us. But we only progress in life to the extent that we take responsibility for our actions and attitudes and put forth the initiative necessary to create our own circumstances. Stephen Covey. Write to be understood, speak to be heard, read to grow. Lawrence Clark Powell. To achieve your dreams, you must embrace adversity and make failure a regular part of your life. If you're not failing, you're probably not really moving forward. John C. Maxwell. Through discipline comes freedom. Aristotle. You'll see it when you believe it. Dr. Wayne Dyer. Men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. James Allen. Do the thing you fear to do and keep on doing it. This is the quickest and surest way ever yet discovered to conquer fear. Dale Carnegie. Don't be afraid to give your best to what seemingly are small jobs. Every time you conquer one, it makes you that much stronger. If you do the little jobs well, the big ones will tend to take care of themselves. Dale Carnegie. Self-education is, I firmly believe, the only kind of education there is. Isaac Asimov. Unless you try to do something beyond what you have already mastered, you will never grow. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Hold yourself responsible for a higher standard than anybody expects of you. Never excuse yourself. Henry Ward Beecher. We must have courage to bet on our ideas, to take the calculated risk, and to act. Everyday living requires courage if life is to be effective and bring happiness. Maxwell Maltz. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Maya Angelou. We can change our lives. We can do, have, and be exactly what we wish. Tony Robbins. As human beings, our greatness lies not so much in being able to remake the world. That is the myth of the atomic age, as in being able to remake ourselves. Mahatma Gandhi. People seldom improve when they have no other model but themselves to copy. Oliver Goldsmith. Trust yourself. Create the kind of self that you will be happy to live with all your life. Make the most of yourself by fanning the tiny inner sparks of possibility into flames of achievement. Golda Meir. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Learning is the beginning of health. Learning is the beginning of spirituality. Searching and learning is where the miracle process all begins. Jim Rohn. A man only learns by two things. One is reading and the other is association with smarter people. Will Rogers. I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. Confucius. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Jim Rohn. Great minds have purposes. Others have wishes. Washington Irving. There is only one corner of the universe you can be certain of improving, and that's your own self. Aldous Huxley. To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. Winston Churchill. In the end, it is important to remember that we cannot become what we need to be by remaining what we are. Max Dupree. Every time you make a mistake, don't bring up everything that's wrong with yourself. Tell yourself that you're paying the price for growth and that you will learn to do better next time. Every positive thing you can say to yourself will help. John C. Maxwell. I cannot always control what goes on outside, but I can always control what goes on inside. Dr. Wayne Dyer. We generally change ourselves for one of two reasons: inspiration or desperation. Jim Rohn. The things which hurt instruct. Benjamin Franklin. We find comfort among those who agree with us, growth among those who don't. Frank A. Clark. Those who seek a better life must first become a better person. Jim Rohn. The strongest principle of growth lies in the human choice. George Eliot. If you truly want to become a better you, it is imperative that you learn to feel good about yourself. Joel Osteen. Perfection does not exist. You can always do better and you can always grow. Les Brown. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. Steve Jobs. I pretended to be somebody I wanted to be until finally I became that person. Or he became me. Cary Grant. Failure is not a single cataclysmic event. You don't fail overnight. Instead, failure is a few errors in judgment, repeated every day. Jim Rohn. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. Abraham Lincoln. Always laugh when you can. It is cheap medicine. Lord Byron. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Steve Jobs. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Epictetus.